Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I am Sam. I make videos that you guys request and I upload them. And if you're not new here, welcome back. It is so nice to see you. How are you? How are you doing? So this is a video that I contemplated making. I honestly didn't really want to make it just because I don't want to step on any toes or act like I know everything about a topic that I really don't. If you guys watch my vlog channel, which will be linked down below and at the end of this video, I do mention sometimes how I have anxiety personally, and a lot of you have been requesting that I make a video talking about that and how I cope with it. Put a big disclaimer here. Anxiety is a spectrum. A very large spectrum. There are people who have very mild anxiety. There are people who have very severe debilitating anxiety. I do not have very severe anxiety. I fall somewhere on the spectrum. This is just more of a video on how I personally cope with it. Number one for me that has honestly helped me so much, and it sounds very obvious, but maybe once I explain it, you'll understand what I mean by it. Number one is try and find the root cause of it. I think for the longest time, I kind of convinced myself that my anxiety just happened because, and I do know for some people all of the time it just happens because. I know for me sometimes I do just get it because, but for majority of the time I would convince myself, oh, I just have because, I just have because. Once I took a step back from that, I started to realize a lot of my anxiety was triggered by things that were so minuscule that I didn't notice that they were triggers. So once I start feeling my anxiety creep up, I'll kind of like the very first feeling you get, I try to halt whatever I'm doing. In my head, I try to think about it. And I'm like, okay, what did I just read on any social media? Did I read something that kind of made me feel off? Was I having a conversation with someone? I'll think back and kind of try to go through the conversation step by step and think, did someone say something to me that kind of triggered it? I'll think about what action I was doing if I'm driving. A lot of time for me, number one, honestly helps. I can sit there and think about it and I'll be like, oh wow, when she said that at the time, maybe I didn't notice that it was going to give me anxiety, but when I recount through it, I kind of realize something someone said to me, that was the trigger. That's what kind of caused me to feel like this. I'll try to rationally think through it and be like, okay, well then why did this give me anxiety? Is there really any truth to this? A lot is very tiny triggers that I don't notice in the moment, but I will notice if I take a step back and really try to think it. And then sometimes I can kind of stop my anxiety right there before it's really progressed and go on with my day. Number two is nip anxiety in the bud. So I know, again, I feel like I'm gonna have disclaimers for all of these. I hope you guys have common sense to understand what I'm saying, but I understand people work and have jobs and people have kids that they have to take care of and they have previous engagements that they have to do. So you can't always do this. That's why there's a list and steps. I will progress if you cannot. But if you are just home or in a situation where you can remove yourself, number two, nip it in the bud. So I'm assuming people who have anxiety for a long time, they kind of have little things they know help them out. For me, I really like taking baths and really hot baths. I mean, I'm not physically burning myself, but you know, pretty close. Other things, just more relaxing things like face masks. Love face masks. Even put a hair mask in, like a deep conditioning treatment is really great. Sometimes taking a nap, if you can kind of force yourself to sleep, or if you have melatonin or sleepy time tea, that's really good, a healthy alternative. I'm not saying take sleeping pills in the middle of the day, but if you can just take maybe some sleepy time tea, if it can calm you, chamomile tea, really good for that too. So I try to nip it in the bud. So if number one doesn't work and there's just no cause for it and it's just random chance, I will try to nip it in the bud, and I will try to either take a bath or drink some tea or do something like that. Number three almost goes hand in hand with what I said, maybe a little different, and it's channel your anxiety into creative projects or productive projects. So I know a bunch of people have probably seen them. They're like those coloring books, and a lot of people with anxiety say they really help them. That's mainly because your brain, kind of like number two, is more focused on the task you're doing. It's more focused on coloring. What color should I choose next? What theme do I want to go for with this flower that I'm coloring in? Than your anxiety. So really 2 and 3 kind of go hand in hand. It's just trying to keep your mind off of your anxiety and focus it somewhere else. I know a lot of people don't really prefer drawing, so maybe writing. I know for a lot of people, if you've heard of it, it's called conscious stream of thought writing. So you just take a paper and pen and you just write whatever you're thinking. It doesn't have to be a story or anything particular, just whatever comes to your head, even if it's like, I hate my anxiety, I hate my anxiety, I hate my anxiety. Eventually, your brain is so focused on the writing than it is the anxiety, and I know that can ease a lot of people. So maybe a journal or a diary or stuff like that, and kind of going off of that too, keeping a journal of your anxiety or like a anxiety diary, tongue twister there, can help some people identify triggers if they don't know what they are, and they, like I kind of did, chalked it up to random chance. Keeping a diary of what you did that day and then when you got your anxiety can maybe help you see a pattern in when you get it and why, or if you're around one person and they really cause that anxiety for you, then you'll be able to kind of see it. But again, not everyone has triggers. Sometimes it is just random. Number 4 is change your diet / workout. When I say workout, I don't mean you need to go sign up for the gym right now. Workout can honestly mean just putting on some sneakers, going outside, taking a walk around your neighborhood. It could mean, you know, getting in the car, driving to a nice mountain and kind of going hiking. It doesn't mean physically push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups. Even Googling home workouts, doing something like that in your room, even for 15 minutes, it releases endorphins in your brain, which make you feel happier and can ease the anxiety and maybe even override it if there's enough endorphins, if you work out hard enough, if you're really focusing on it. Also, I noticed when you change your diet, it's almost like a eat better, feel better type of deal. When I eat really poorly, when I eat McDonald's and Domino's, which is super easy in college, then I tend to feel really gross internally, and I feel kind of gross about myself. And then I've noticed that kind of triggers anxiety too, just because kind of you let your guard down and it will strike. But if you are eating better, you're feeling better, it could really help with your anxiety, helps balance out your hormones. Sometimes hormone imbalance can lead to anxiety. So eating better, working out, getting those endorphins, getting your heart pumping can really help. I'm pretty sure this is number 5, and again, I think I'm gonna have to explain this one a little bit. I don't know if people understand, but number 5 for me is try to explain your anxiety to others so they can help you better. And when I say that, I think people who have anxiety understand that when you tell someone you have anxiety and that person has never experienced that before, it's very difficult to get them to understand how you're feeling. They kind of think it's just like, oh, that feeling right before a big test, or oh, that feeling right before you go into a job meeting or an interview. They don't really understand the severity of how you're feeling. And like I said, anxiety is a spectrum. Everybody's different and they feel it differently. So explaining how you personally feel to another person and trying to explain it, it is difficult to explain, but trying to explain it as well as you can to someone else can really help them see that it isn't just the butterflies in your tummy before a big test or when you go on a first date or something like that. It's genuine like fear and heart beating and out of breath and honestly sometimes feeling like you're gonna faint or however you personally feel when you have it. So almost explaining it to them can help them help you better. Instead of expecting someone to know what you want from them, maybe just straight up being like, it would really help me out so much if we didn't really speak right now. It would really help me if you just kind of sat here. Can you just like rub my back for a second? Like it would really help me. Thank you. That can almost help both people because they won't feel so frustrated because you know, they'll know how to help you and then them helping you will obviously make you feel better. Just be upfront. Don't expect them to know what they should do during this, especially if they've never had it. It's unfair to expect them to know, oh, this is what they need, you know, but be very upfront, honest about how you feel, what it feels like, and what you need from them and how they can help you. Number 6 and 7 kind of go hand in hand. Again, all this kind of goes hand in hand, but also almost not. I'll explain. Number 6 is push your limits, but on positive things. So I know a lot of people have anxiety going to certain places. I know a lot of people have anxiety getting on planes or trains or whatever. And I know it can be very difficult. I'm not trying to undermine that at all. But start small, even if you have to, on positive things, things that are going to help you. If you know something gives you anxiety, but you also know that doing that thing would positively impact your life and make it easier or make you happier in the end, try to push yourself to do those things. And it's very hard, but maybe make a step-by-step list of how you can almost build up to doing that thing. Once you and because anxiety is a mental thing, once you and your brain physically see that you're okay and it's not really like you're not in danger, it shouldn't cause anxiety, it's almost easier to keep going through the steps because you can almost tell yourself and your brain can tell itself, well, the last couple steps were fine, so this step is probably fine too. And not saying you won't get anxiety over it, but it might be easier for you to overcome that anxiety and it might lessen step by step when you're almost rewiring your brain to understand, because your brain is constantly throughout its entire life, Google it, constantly rewiring itself to almost think differently, which is obviously why you don't think the same way that you did, say, like 5 or 10 years ago. It's constantly rewiring itself. So by pushing yourself, even little baby steps, one at a time, you're rewiring your brain to think differently about that task that you're trying to do. Getting on a plane gives you debilitating anxiety, which I've heard from a bunch of people. Try to do that in baby steps, because if you know either being able to go on planes will help you see your family who doesn't live close to you, or will help you maybe get a job promotion that you might need to travel for, or other things like that. If it will affect you in a positive way, try to make a step-by-step list of maybe a way you can eventually get there. I wouldn't recommend just ignoring your anxiety and trying to just full on go on a flight. So instead of pushing yourself like that, try a very manageable, easy, step-by-step list of doing things that will positively impact your life and make it either easier or make you happier or accelerate your career. And number 7 was avoid unnecessary anxiety. If there's a work party, like a Christmas work dinner party, and you know everyone's going, but going would give you anxiety. If that party is really not gonna like positively affect your career and it's just a social gathering and it's really giving you anxiety, don't put yourself through it. Don't go. Don't be in that type of situation. And I think this is the last one I have, which is number 8. It is obviously the most severe one. If you on the spectrum have very, very debilitating anxiety and you're watching this video of a 21-year-old girl who does not know everything about it because you're hoping that I can cure you somehow, then I think number 8 is for you. Honestly, seek professional help. And I say that because sometimes even sitting with a therapist and having your feelings like verified, having someone who is trained in this field tell you that it is okay to feel like this and give you maybe some more tips, or even if medication can help, which is definitely a no judgment zone. I know people who have anxiety and take medication for it. It should not be a big deal to anyone. Do what makes you happy. Do what you think is going to get you through it, because no one should have to live with this feeling. It honestly, to be quite honest, it sucks. So do what you know you need to do. And I know I'm more serious in this video, but anxiety is a very serious topic to me. I deal with it myself. I've mentioned it in my vlog. If you watch it, you can see me mention it. I'm not lying. Bond together, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this. Let's help each other out. Share your tips in the comments. I would honestly love to see if anyone has different tips and tricks that help them, that maybe could help me too. I'm still looking for new ways to deal with it. But with that being said, I will talk to you guys in my next video. Let's stick together, okay? Bye, guys.